On this vote, the yeas are 215, the nays are 214, with one answering present. The bill is passed. USA, USA.
So this is how liberty dies. With thunderous applause.
Now that was Trump's big, beautiful bill being passed, but not all Republicans are happy with this. It's not just Queen Amidala. Ron Johnson, Republican senator out of Wisconsin, he's also very upset about this bill.
I couldn't care less if he's upset. I'm concerned about my children, my grandchildren, and the fact that we are stealing from them. We are stealing from our children and grandchildren. $37 trillion in debt, and we're going to add to it as Republicans? That is unacceptable.
Now, Donald Trump, he's very happy with the big, beautiful bill, and we'll talk about what is in the bill and why this is important for crypto. The one big, beautiful bill has passed the House of Representatives. This is arguably the most significant piece of legislation that will ever be signed in the history of our country. But what is actually in this bill? Now, PBS actually has a pretty good breakdown here, and then we'll get into why this is important for crypto. House Republicans narrowly passed Trump's big, beautiful bill. Here is what's in it. So the House Republicans approved the legislative package that combines tax breaks, spending cuts, border security funding, and other priorities. Now, it's over 1,000 pages and is titled the One Big Beautiful Act, a nod to Donald Trump. Now, there are a lot of tax cuts in this bill. There's no tax on tips, overtime, or interest on some auto loans. Now, there's also some tax cuts for those having kids, $500 increase in the child tax credit, bringing it to $2,500 through 2028, and then it'll return to $2,000 and increase for inflation. There's also some tax cuts for businesses. Small businesses, including partnerships and S-corps, will be able to subtract 23% of their qualified income from their taxes when it used to be 20%. And also, businesses will be able to expense domestic research and development and the cost of machinery, equipment, and other qualifying assets. Now, in addition to cuts to taxes, there's also some cuts to benefits. It looks like there's going to be some SNAP cuts. This is the food assistant program. And it looks like they're going to add more work requirements for Medicaid. So they are going to cut Medicaid, importantly though, for able-bodied adults. Now, it looks like they're going to do a little more oversight. They're going to get checked twice a year rather than just once. Now, this is an interesting thing with a little bit of a crypto angle. Trump kids get a $1,000 savings account. So this is for parents or guardians who open new Trump accounts for their children. The federal government will contribute $1,000 for each of these babies. Now, you can spend this money later. 50% of the money you can access to pay for education, training, or first-time home purchases. And then at the age of 30, you have access to the full balance of the account for any purpose you want. Now, of course, defense, no cut there. Defense is getting extra money, an additional $150 billion of new money for the Defense Department. But it looks like they might be able to pay for some of this with more drilling and mining on public lands to generate extra revenue. One section allows increased leasing of public lands for drilling, mining, and logging. But now let's talk about the crypto angle, and that's coming from a small provision not many people are talking about. Now, the Trump's big, beautiful bill could push millions of people to crypto. And so if the bill passes as it stands, it's going to introduce a 5% tax on remittances. Now, remittance payments is just money that is sent from one party to another, but in this case, they're talking about foreign remittance payments. Now, there are currently about 40 million people using foreign remittance payments. And so with this big, beautiful bill, there's going to be a 5% tax on remittances sent by non-US citizens to their home countries. Now, this could affect over 40 million people in the US. Now, looking at some of these stats, I didn't realize this much money was being sent overseas from America. Looks like in 2024, remittance to Mexico will exceed $64 billion. And so if they're able to throw a 5% tax on that, you're looking at roughly about $3 billion in extra revenue for the US government. Now, analysts are saying there's a crypto angle here. So analysts believe these capital flows will find a way to reach their destination and evade this tax. Crypto might be one of these unauthorized channels that these migrants could use to avoid getting slashed by the US government. Essentially, a lot of people are not going to want to pay the 5% tax. A certain percentage of these people are going to spin up some sort of crypto app or a crypto wallet. They're going to tell their foreign family member, hey, go ahead and download Coinbase, maybe MetaMask, maybe a Phantom wallet, and I'm going to send you the money this way. And so this will be a huge onboarding event for crypto. But to me, the big crypto angle here is not remittance payments, it's exploding national debt. As our debt increases, that's going to lower our ability to pay down our past debts, which is going to decrease the value of the dollar, which is going to increase the value of hard assets like Bitcoin. Here, famous author Scott Adams breaks down what he thinks about Trump's big, beautiful bill.
Now, what do you think this budget would do to the national debt, which is the only thing that matters? Because if we don't get the national debt down, none of the rest of that matters. You know, you're not going to get tax on tips because you're not even going to have a restaurant. There won't be any place to even work to get a tip. So the one most important thing, by far the most important thing, by 100 to 1, the most important thing is that the new budget decreases spending enough so that our deficit and debt situation and the national reputation is preserved. So how does it do it? It doesn't. It blows the debt up like a lot. It's not even close.
And to illustrate this point, I'm looking at the U.S. national debt. You can see this at usdebt.org, and it has a lot of figures here, but we're going to just look at the U.S. national debt here in the corner. We are currently $36 trillion in debt and counting every single day, and each citizen is now over $100,000 in debt. And if you look at our federal debt to GDP ratio, that looks at how much we owe compared to what we make given our goods and services, we are in the hole. In 1960, 52% of our GDP, 34% in 1980, 57% in 2000, and now if you look, we are now exceeding our GDP. For every $10 we make as a business called America, we owe $12, and this is an unsustainable path. You need to get your hands on as much Bitcoin as possible. I'm Deezy for Discover Crypto. That's the breakdown for the big, beautiful bill. Let me know what you think of the bill, and I'll see you along with our debt at the top.